Happy Monday, everyone. I have a new beautiful story for you, and this one is a true story, a true miracle, and it was circulated in the newspapers in Florida. I hope you enjoy the story. A prominent businessman, Donald Spann, tells the story of a time he received a helping hand in a time of desperate need. Don fell off the boat, and he was not wearing a life preserver. Don, who was the type of man who preached safety to all his employees with a vengeance, was out on the raft, not wearing a life preserver of his own. He was the only passenger in the boat. It was his boat, and his driver, John T., continued on driving, not realizing that Don had fallen out of the back of the boat. In the words of Don, if any of you listening to me have been around the ocean, you know that it's a serious business. And to be 20 miles offshore in what the depth finder just a few minutes before told me it was 80 feet of water. You're in with fish that are big enough to consider you a part of the food chain, and I was nervous about that. I didn't have a knife, I didn't have a weapon, I didn't have anything to help me out. I've been on the water 45 minutes and I was thinking about my family, my wife, my children, and how they were going to take the news that I was lost at sea. When Don realized that he was probably going to drown, one of the first things he did is pray. Don related, it's such a temptation to say, God, if you just get me out of this jam that I'm in right now, I'll be a good boy for the rest of my life. But I realized that that was bargaining with God, and I couldn't do it, no matter if I die, and I was pretty desperate. But I still could not bargain, and so I prayed to God, and I said, if it is your will, and if I am allowed, may I have your permission, God, that I get just one foot on a sandy beach. And then if I fall over dead, that's fine. But please don't take me this way, if I may ask. After that, Don ran into darkness. He had a temptation in the water. He had a voice come that was not a heavenly voice, and he knew it. Don said the voice came back a third time, and he was angry. It was in a higher pitch, and it was right in the right ear, echoing, and the voice called my name and said, Don, John T. is not coming back. He is not going to turn around. And I knew that that was wrong. I knew John would at least turn around when he missed me. He would not go to Fort Lauderdale and report me lost at sea. He would turn around, and so I knew that the voice was wrong. And that made me angry. And when the voice told me to give up and slide down that it wouldn't hurt, I looked up over and said, look here, I've told you, I'm going to swim all day and all night. If I'm 10 feet under the water, I'm still going to be moving my arms and legs. You got that, fellow? And then at that point, I was embarrassed because I realized I was talking to a voice, and I was there all by myself. Miraculously, after remaining adrift for what felt like an eternity, Donald Spann had managed to stay afloat while his companion John T. searched the open seas. All of a sudden, I heard this deep rumble, and it was the exhaust sound of a boat. And that was my boat. I knew her sound. I was on my back to save energy. Finally, I rolled over, and there she was. I had to figure out a way to get out of the way and still be seen, because it is so hard to find anybody or anything in the ocean specifically. If you stop and think about my little coconut head sticking up for 8-mile radius, how are you going to find something that small? And John looked my way 3 times and didn't see me. And I was getting discouraged, and he was coming at the direction of 11, 10:30, 10 o'clock, and was getting quicker. And then all of a sudden, I saw John lower the glasses and pull them back up, lower them, and then he hollered, Don! And I said, oh, thank God he sees me. And I kind of rolled over and partially blocked out. Then, in a nearly tragic twist of fate, the hull of the boat that was about to rescue Don pushed him under the water, and he began to sink. Don relates, I started sliding down towards the center of the boat and back away because I drifted at a different rate than the boat was drifting on the surface. And there was a light over here to the left, and I knew there was no sunshine a moment before. It was like a filtered yellow light. It looked like I was looking through a picture of tea. And I was trying to pull on the rope to get myself to the boat with my left hand, and I just didn't have the strength to move anything else. All of a sudden, kaploosh! And it looked just the same as when you're in a swimming pool, where you can see a million bubbles up there when somebody jumps on top of you. And I witnessed that. And then I thought, don't fight John T. Let him help you. And I felt a hand on my bicep, and then a separate hand on my forearm. And I thought, how is he going to help me get to the boat like that? All of a sudden, I felt hands on my shoulder blades, and I went straight to the ladder, just like I belonged there, like a magnet. But I couldn't get my leg up on the bottom rung, which was right above my waist. And I just didn't have the strength. And that takes strength on a good day if you're having a good time. It's still a tough job to get up. And I was trying to get my foot out there, and all of a sudden I felt a hand on my calf and one on my ankle. And they placed my foot there for me. And then I felt hands under my buttocks, and up I went like I was on a hydraulic lift of some kind. I just stood up. Don was taken by helicopter to the nearest hospital and was treated for exposure and exhaustion. It was only then that he began to fully understand the implications of his miraculous rescue. John T. came in, and I gave John the biggest hug. You can't pay somebody for saving your life. What do you say to somebody like that? There are no words, they just aren't. Thank you is just not good enough. After we greeted each other and he told me that this went from the worst day of his life to the best day of his life all in the same day, I said, John, you scared me half to death. Why did you jump into the water? John said, what are you talking about? I said, well, I saw you jumped in and you grabbed a hold of me. John said, what are you talking about? I never left the boat. God had sent his guardian angels to help me some way, somehow. I don't know why, but they did. I got helped to the boat. I call it a blessing that I've experienced the hands of a guardian angel. I just love that story because I like to believe that there is something divine that is always with us, protecting us. I cannot empirically prove this, but it's something that I choose to believe. It is more comforting for me to believe that we're not alone and that I don't live in a hostile universe. Why angels come and rescue some and not others, I don't have the answer to that. That's the same question that philosophers have tried to answer since there is history. Perhaps it's because we don't ask. The Bible says, you have not because you ask not. Many people don't believe that they can tap into or influence a divine reaction, so they don't ask. And given that today is Monday, the first day of the week, let that be your theme. Every day this week, when you are in a jam or in a bind, ask the help of your guardian angels and see what happens. If you have a story with the unexplained, I would love to hear it. You can send it at waleuska@fmtg.us. Please remember to subscribe to my YouTube storytelling channel and help me grow. And I will see you next Monday with another beautiful story of miracles. In the meantime, stay safe, stay grateful, and remember, ask and you shall receive. I'll see you Monday.